Namaskar and welcome to Indian Diplomacy, show on India's national television channel Doordarshan about Indian foreign policy, India's international relations and India's strategic partnerships with key and crucial countries around the world. Viewers, this is a special episode where we are doing a deep dive into one of India's oldest, strongest and most consequential partnerships in Asia. This is with Indonesia. The President of Indonesia, Prabowo Subianto, was the chief guest of India's Republic Day ceremony, and a host of agreements have been signed since his arrival, and the relationship, which has been upgraded to comprehensive strategic partnership, is scaling new heights. So what is behind this bonhomie between India and Indonesia? What are the main factors driving this relationship in different dimensions? And what is the impact of this special friendship on our region? This is the focus of this special episode, and it's a great privilege for me to introduce you to the guests who are participating in this show, who have come all the way from Indonesia, outstanding senior editors and journalists from top media houses of Indonesia are in India on an India familiarization visit under the aegis of the Indian Ministry of External Affairs. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to India and to Indian diplomacy.
Thank you.
It's a great honor for us that President Subianto was the chief guest, and the relationship is growing. But I want to start the discussion by going a little bit back in time, because while as modern republics we have forged a very close partnership, our ties go back to millennia as civilizations. And if you look back in terms of trade and philosophy and religion and ideas, we have had long connect going back centuries, and this predates the modern republics, right? So I'd like, for the benefit of our audience, if someone would like to come in and reflect on that aspect, because Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, there's so many connections that go back, and it's a natural relationship, right? Sometimes countries have partnerships based on just material interests, but the cultural connect is so deep, and the agreements that have been signed during President Subianto's visit is to enhance the cultural exchanges. Already India is involved in the conservation of the Borobudur and the Prambanan temples, and there are many other aspects, on which we seem to have, our lineage, our ancestors found each other long time ago. So if anyone would like to come in, please, and talk about that aspect, and how much do people in your country know about this, old civilizational link, and how relevant is that, today? Would anyone want to come in and share your views?
Okay, probably
Please,
I can.
sir.
My name is Taufik Rahman. I'm the chief editor of the Jakarta Post, the English daily. Probably for the general Indian audience, probably not too many of them know about Indonesia or its long history of ties with India. I think prior to my visit here, I read two books. The first one was on Majapahit.
Yes.
Majapahit is a Hindu Buddhist kingdom in central East Java. This is the most populated island in Indonesia, and this is the first major empire in Indonesia, and this empire was founded on the foundation of Hindu Buddhist culture, and this comes from India. So I think it's only appropriate that one of the major agreement was the help that Indonesia can get to do restoration on the Prambanan temple you have just mentioned, because this has been Prambanan and Borobudur. These are two major landmarks in Indonesia that we can trace back to the moment when Indonesia was still part of the Indian sphere. And then the second book that I read on the way here is the book by V.S. Naipaul, the Nobel laureate of Indian descent. The book was Among the Believers. It's like when he traced the trip, he looked into Muslim societies, Iran, Pakistan, Indonesia, and Malaysia. And I read the chapter on Indonesia and Malaysia first, because that is the most interesting to me. And then he sort of traced back basically the version of Islam that comes to Indonesia was the one that is brought in by the Gujarati traders. So all the three major cultures in Indonesia, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Islam, went through India, or in the case of Hindu and Buddhism, this comes from India, and in the case of Islam, the culture comes through India as well. So I think, having said that, I think we can trace the relationship millennia back, and it goes to show that I think Indonesia and India should be a natural partner that we can build on a stronger foundation. And I think what President Prabowo and Prime Minister Modi agreed to elevate the relationship to a higher level, I think that's only the natural progression of millennia or centuries of close relationship. Probably I want to start on that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So viewers, our esteemed friend who edits the Jakarta Post, major national newspaper of Indonesia, is talking about the fact that these linkages are uninterrupted, and it has served the interests of both sides even before the nation states were created. And that's how there is a deep fondness among the people, among the ordinary people of both sides, because we trace from our mythologies and from our scriptures and from the architecture of these temples, grand temples, how India influenced Indonesia and vice versa. So it's so important. Anyone else wants to come in on the cultural aspect? There's also a modern, like a contemporary cultural connection. We saw when President of India hosted your president, there was a group of Indonesians who sang a popular Bollywood song, and it became viral, and millions of people actually viewed it on social media. And of course, our cinema, our music, our dance are very popular. I've seen myself in Indonesia, in Malaysia, in Thailand, the Philippines, all these countries. Indian popular culture is really a hit, especially with young people. So and that cultural connection, of course, is more contemporary and more recent, and but that's also quite infectious, because it helps us at the level of the ordinary societies. So while we talk about the comprehensive strategic partnership and all the big things, for ordinary people, I think a Bollywood tune is more recognizable, or yoga is more recognizable than high level agreements between states, right? So how popular is Indian culture in your country, and who are the stars and who people like? Let our audiences know here and around the world that which are the attractions of India among the contemporary Indonesians. Would anyone want to come in and talk about that aspect?
Okay, my name Ayu from Business Indonesia. Talk about the culture. I think most of people in Indonesia know about the industry, India film. By myself, I know about the film Kucha Kucha Hotae,
yes.
Shahrukh Khan, and we have a famous businessman in industry film, Ram Punjabi. He has a lot of film to apa? Like a Sinetron series. A soap opera that he produced the film to Indonesian people. I think in culture, India has a famous in Indonesia. That's all.
And ma'am, what about music and dance and
music
yoga?
and dance? Yeah, we have. We love so much India. We have a community, small community. India lovers from millennial and Gen Z love a lot of music India, dancing, and so many agenda like a ceremony in Indonesia to celebrate that event in Indonesia. India song. I think it's.
Sorry, can I
yes,
edit
please,
a little bit more?
If you wish to add, please.
I'm Rian Anggoro from Antara News Agency. When we talk about the music influence, India is very deeply rooted in the grassroots name the genre is dangdut. Dangdut is, I think it's a little bit influence India music. It's like the dance and the sound, the flute, what is called gendang, like India. I think the genre is it's really popular in local people in Indonesia, even though they're not recognized is influenced by India. And I think it's maybe can, if with the collaboration Indonesia artists with India, probably it's gonna be bigger. Like probably dangdut become like a K-pop maybe or something like that.
Wow.
Who knows, right?
Wow.
It's really interesting.
So Indonesia plus India can be as good as K-pop, or maybe even more popular. Yeah, it's an interesting idea. I think artists, because of the language barrier, often they don't collaborate. They get inspired from each other, but we don't see like fusion, like joint works by artists of different countries. But this is an interesting idea, viewers. And you know, the instruments and the tunes, if we can mix them, maybe we will be able to reach broader and bigger audiences and have a bigger impact on the cultural scene worldwide. Okay, we spoke about culture now, and I want to now take a little turn towards the deeper national identities of the two countries. And like we said, the republics since independence and even during the freedom struggle from European colonial rule, we have actually collaborated and worked very closely. And when we had our first Republic Day, 1950, Sukarno was the chief guest. And at that time, you know, it was the height of the Cold War, and Indonesia and India were shoulder to shoulder on the question of, you know, the global south and non-alignment, and seeking to steer our own path, which is autonomous from the big powers. And this identity as, you know, republics which are very proud, nationalistic and independent, this has always remained. And I know you have, you know, free and active foreign policy has been your, you know, slogan for a long time. And we also have this principle of strategic autonomy. So at the level of republics, then we had President Yudhoyono came as chief guest, then President Joko Widodo, and now President Subianto. So I was just looking up the list, and in terms of the countries which have been invited the most number of times, and Indonesia is now third in that list, 4 times to India. So it obviously shows a high level of recognition of the importance of your country, and also the fact that we are democracies and that we are republics, proud republics. So that tradition of, you know, many people wrote off our countries at the time of independence. They said we will collapse and we will become dictatorships and so on, right? But, and I know Indonesia went through a spell of, you know, authoritarian rule, but now you've come out so strong and have, you know, a role model democracy also in the ASEAN region and for the world. So let's talk about this republican values and the democracy aspect. How important you think that is, and what have you seen while you are here in India for our Republic Day and all this? I mean, just the celebration of our democratic values, the civic values, and these kind of ideas, you know. So would anyone want to come and talk about our political systems and how those are critical for the relationship to go forward?
Okay.
Anyone else?
Thank you. My name is Didi Saputra from Waspada Delhi, based on North Sumatra Utara, Medan. I'm adding a little for culture. I grew up with Bollywood movie as well as Hollywood movie. Many of my relatives are big fans of Bollywood movie. They dance, they sing, even they don't know what meanings. Yeah. Now we talk about politics. India, as we know, is the biggest democratic country in the world. The second is United States, and then Indonesia. Yeah. So this is important thing, yes, about the democratic. Now then, we know Indonesia and Indian are common such as Indonesia have Muslim biggest country in the world, but also India have around 200 million population Muslim.
That's right.
In the India, so this is very similar, and I think we have many commons. So I think this is make we can cooperate together in economic, cultural, and etc. etc. There's the starting point. I think the President Prabowo visit very important for start. He said on the press conference, this is the starting point to enhance relation between Indonesia and India. That's it. That is what I say, and I will say an idioms from the river to the sea. India and Indonesia must be happy. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anyone else wants to come in on the political systems, our democracy, our republics? We are celebrating each other's republican traditions, and how much does that make you like India and vice versa? Because sometimes we say that the regimes don't matter, we cooperate based on materialistic interests, right? But sometimes it's also the political values that matter, and people say, okay, we are similar to you, you understand our processes, our legislature, judiciary, executive, media, the way it operates here and there. In democracies, there are similarities, right? So on that front, anyone wants to come in on political institutions and that aspect, and what you have seen in India, and maybe is there something we can learn from each other?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Professor. My name is Sutta Dharma Saputra. My name is Sanskrit, so I think it's the word adapt with Indian language.
Yeah.
My first, I want to adding about culture. I suggest concrete suggestion. Maybe the nation. Sorry, this is the television. India collaborate with media in Indonesia to build collaboration Bollywood and Bollywood.
From Bali.
Bali and
Island.
Bollywood.
Yeah,
I think it's the same culture, and maybe can make a movie industry in India and Indonesia can learn each other. And about politics, I think the founding fathers of Indonesia, I think, is very close with founding fathers of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, and established the organization, new alignment organization or new aligned countries, and make a conference in Bandung. I think it's very, very good movement to make the world is better and better for peace. And today, I think Indonesia and Indian have a democracy system is, I think, is three biggest in the world. American, US, Indian, and Indonesia, to make democracy is better and better in the world. In my view, maybe the value of democracy Indonesia and Indian, I think, same. For example, in Indian, when I watch the parade Republican Day, Indian have value to unity in diversity. I think it's same with Indonesia. Indonesia have motto Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, unity in diversity. I think the same. So I think it's good start for India and Indonesia to new start to make collaboration or partnership to next level. Maybe to accelerate and improving, collaborate to good movement to the world to make democracy better and better. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. That's much appreciated, because viewers, sometimes the focus is so much on economic and military give and take, but we don't realize that together, when two big democracies like Indonesia and India come together, it sets an example for the region and for the world. And if the first and the third largest democracies of the world, and by the way, the United States also, we have very strong relations. Both our countries have strong strategic partnerships with the US also. So in that sense, there's a lot of things in common, and especially in an era in the third decade of the 21st century, when there is so much talk about the decline of democracy worldwide, and there is a lot of concern about erosion of democratic values. If we are strong and we cooperate with each other, if we learn from each other and exchange ideas about democratic institutions, that can also make a difference. And talking of that, friends, President Subianto has been very keen to observe and learn from the Indian public policy and governance model, and he has actually praised India for its approach to lifting people out of poverty, on healthcare, on all the core welfare issues, the developmental issues for the global south. So yes, on one hand we have trade and commerce, but there is also this aspect which is for the socio-economic development, not just the economic exchanges. And on this aspect also, there is, I read that the nutritious meal plan in your country has borrowed ideas from the Indian midday meal plan for school children, to retain them in school, because poorer families cannot afford to send children to school unless they are given an incentive, right? And this is the most important incentive, which is a wholesome meal. So this idea seems to have crossed the waters, and seems to have had an impact. And likewise, there are many other initiatives the two governments are talking about to improve social welfare by learning from each other. And there could be a lot of potential for the public policy of both countries, the experts and the implementers, the administrators, to learn from each other. Our civil society, we have a very large, democratic country, we have huge NGOs on both sides who are interested in learning. So anyone wants to come in on that aspect of the fact that we share a developing country background, and there's something that we can actually learn, something maybe more, and based on the recent agreements that have been signed, if you can think of any other areas. Yes, sir, please.
Thank you, Professor. My name is Muhammad Iqbal. I'm from CNBC Indonesia. Free meals is one topic that I asked to the Mr. Amitabh Khan,
our G20
Sherpa. Your G20 Sherpa, and then the Minister of External Affairs, Minister Jaisankar. I asked them about the free meals because we just started the program at 6 January 2025. So the president already said that the program already, I think 600 students in 31 provinces in Indonesia. And then the president want at the end of the year, every student in Indonesia can get that program. It's a very good program, because I learned from the article in India, midday meal scheme. It was started at 1995, and already, I think it's one of the push factor to lift the 100 million people from the poverty. But I think it's not just free meals. I think we have to learn another program like the Big Water. I think it's a water pipe to every community and every house. It says in Indonesia, in India. In Indonesia, we have also the problem with the clean water, because some people have to buy the water from the, I don't know, maybe the trader to get the clean water. And like the Minister Jaisankar said yesterday, Minister Jaisankar said that it's related to the SDGs goal, 17 SDGs goal in the years 2030. And as you know, the free meals is I think the campaign promise by President Prabowo since I think he was candidate president in 2014. So this is time for him to prove that this program can be implemented to the people. But there is also some criticizes, you know, and because the menu and then maybe the price of the food, it was 15,000 rupiah for each package, but now the president decided to put it down to the 10,000 rupiah. So some of the people criticize the program, the budget, especially because it need more budget to you know, to get all the student have this program. But it's a good start, I think, and Indonesia can learn from India, from also Japan. You know, this month I think Prime Minister of Japan also came to Indonesia, to Bogor, and we have to learn also from the Japan, which has the program, free meals program, since 1994. I think Japan is ahead of us, so it's a good program to lifting the people from the poverty, I think. Thank you.
Yes, Indonesia has to learn from India, but India also has to learn from Indonesia. Viewers, remember, Indonesia's per capita income is double that of India. Indonesia is almost like a middle income country, and India is still what is classified as a low middle income country. So our numbers are also, of course, Indonesia is big, 280 million is big, but 1.5 billion is much bigger. So the challenge is bigger. But the fact that two large populous democracies are cooperating on the issue of core development and the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, it's very important that we do this, because this is the essence of the South-South cooperation, that we actually transmit ideas and exchange ideas that can then be implemented on the ground and can lead to genuine socio-economic uplift. So of course, I think your leaders and our leadership are also committed to these causes, and that's why they are seeing so much potential. So yes, we can learn from Japan, but Japan is a rich country. But there's, I think, more that we can learn from each other, right? As developing countries and as large populous developing countries. Talking of development, let me take you all to the economic aspects. Some of you are from the business media also. I'd like you to please come in and talk about the potential for enhancing trade. Your Chamber of Commerce was here along with President Subianto, and a lot of discussions are happening at the business to business level. And it's very promising. It reached almost $35 billion, the bilateral trade. So although India has a free trade agreement with the whole of all the 10 ASEAN countries, among them Singapore and Indonesia are the top. And we'd like to know what we can do to enhance this, and are there any specific sectors where you feel maybe India has an advantage and where it can be beneficial for your business community, and vice versa. I heard President Subianto mentioning infrastructure as one area where they would want more Indian investors. So any thoughts on the economic relationship and how we can make this an example, because the intra-South economic linkages are critical, and we have, of course, business ties with richer countries, with Europe and North America, Japan and all that, but among ourselves, we also need to consolidate the relationship to make it more robust and meaningful. So anything on the trade and commerce and the investment, would anyone want to come in, please?
I'm Primus Dorimulu from Investor Trust. I'm a chief editor. I think two countries, India, Indonesia, India, Indonesia. Rupiah currency, rupee currency.
Sounds the same.
Wow. Strong relationship. Let me talk about the futures. My friend already talked about the past, the history. We have a strong history. India, the top level, the biggest population in the world, and second China, and the third America, USA, and the fourth, Indonesia. 4 countries with the biggest population in the world. Our challenges today for 2 countries, Indonesia and India, is poverty. Yeah, Indonesia has biggest population still live in poverty. I think India too.
Yes.
And second, our challenge is unemployment. And we are facing the world declining economic growth, high inflations, high interest rate, and how we solve this problem to reducing poverty, to extend employment. That's why Kadin from Indonesia, collaboration with CII.
This is your Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah. They held biggest event, CEO Forum, and then they have some agreement to collaboration first in agriculture and second in medicine, pharmacy, pharmaceutical, and second industry, including artificial intelligence until machine learning, and then
digital public infrastructure.
Digitalization. Yesterday we discussed with your foreign minister. One of the reason to push India economic growth is digitalizations. I think in the 5 or 6 area we need to collaboration in the futures. I think we are looking for the implementations. When India or Indonesia open investment, we need a lot of investor from India. We know the biggest conglomerate from India like Tata, Adani, and then from Indonesia, the biggest company in oil and gas, in coal, in others. I think we love India because we have the strong history. I think most of Indonesian people know well about India.
Anyone else wants to come in on economics? Yes.
Mira naam Harisun. I hope I said that right.
Wonderful.
Okay, I'm from Kontan. It's daily newspaper in Indonesia. It's about daily newspaper, business and investment daily newspaper in Indonesia. So, in terms of what can both of countries do to enhance the cooperation and economics, I think the first thing we must highlight is both of countries has a big population. So it has a demographic advantage, and there's not a lot of country has that kind of advantage. So first, I think the demographic advantage can give a good opportunity to both of country, and in terms of what sectors can be enhanced, it can be point to develop more. I think one of opportunity has been we can see from green energy investment. So there is a lot of concern of green energy nowadays, and Indonesia also has try to expand more in green energy, like the banking now try to financing more in green energy sector compared to fossil energy sector. So that's one of the sector, and one of the sector that we can cooperate with. And also Indonesia and India has similar type of capital market, and India is one of the biggest has the biggest initial public offering in 2024. And I think there are a lot of opportunity from the capital market that we can try to enhance both of the countries. Okay, I think that's.
Thank you. Those are valuable points. Viewers, from infrastructure to capital markets to agriculture, there's so much that's happening between Indonesia and India. We hope we can, double the trade, at least reach 70 billion or more. The trade that we do with, other bigger countries is much higher in volume, right? I mean, your trade with China is much higher. Our trade with China is higher. Our trade with the US is the highest, of all our partners. So, but Indonesia is getting there, it's usually 4th, 5th, 6th largest trading partner for India over the years. And so it's definitely something not that, needs to start from zero. We already have a base. And this identification of mutually beneficial areas for cooperation, I think, can take us very far. Any other thoughts on the economic relationship before we go to foreign policy and strategy and geopolitics? Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Professor. My name is Aditya Laksmana Yudes, also Sanskrit.
Most of your names sound Sanskrit.
Yes, all of my name. And I'm from FIFA.co.id, and I'm editor-in-chief. About the economic cooperation between Indonesia and India, my friends already mentioned some areas maybe I can add. And in many occasions, since President Joko Widodo and now President Prabowo Subianto, they mentioned about the critical mineral, that once that Indonesia has the huge resources. So that's why Indonesia wants to be ecosystem hub for EV, electronic vehicle. I think that's one point that Indonesia and India can maybe escalating the trade and also investment between two countries. And we already met with Mr. Anindya Bakri, the chairman of Indonesian Chamber of Commerce. In his point of view, Indonesia and India must be 4 times in terms of value in trading and investment.
4 times. That's
in 10 years.
Yeah, that's crossing 100 billion.
Yes, in 10 years. I think that's not a quite realistic number, because we have the huge market from this country. Indonesia maybe become your market, and India also our market to our products and services. And green energy and EV productions, and then healthcare, and mentioned by Pak Primus and also my colleagues Haris. I think that's all that we can referring to the chairman of Kadin, that maybe it can how we can maximizing that's all the resources. So in 10 years we can make it 4 times from the value of now. I think that's my view.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think the ambition is high, and it's possible if we are able to enter into like more business to business level, talks and deals and agreements, because that will take it further. And of course, it will have a trickle down effect also for the society, because if it generates higher employment, if we are at the early stages of kind of a what we call a Make in India manufacturing program. We know you have a Made in Indonesia program also. So if you find synergies, I think it's a long way. And because geographically we are not far away, it makes a lot of sense. Viewers, for your information, the nearest point from the Andaman and Nicobar Islands to North Sumatra, Aceh, where Aceh province is just 90 nautical miles. So you may look at the map and think that Indonesia is a little far away, but actually it's right next door because we have the maritime territory of the Andamans, strategically very important near the state of Malacca. So from there, Indonesia is just a hop away, and there has been effort to create a connectivity between Andaman and Aceh. And if we are able to, do those kind of things, I think we will have much greater movement, not only of tourists, but also, for our traders. And going back in history, to the monsoon winds and the Indosphere, as it used to be called, our merchants, even without any modern technology, used to be seafarers and bringing gold and spices and turmeric and ivory and all these things for millennia. They used to trade. So trade is in our blood, and commerce is in our blood, and we should be reviving that glorious era, with, of course, modern means and technologies. Okay, we spoke about culture and economics and politics, but let me now come to foreign policy. President Subianto is in some ways continuing the long tradition of Indonesian foreign policy, right? Of this free and active foreign policy, but there is also changes, and some on the Indian side have observed that there is an effort to move beyond ASEAN, and of course ASEAN centrality. Indonesia is a founding member of ASEAN and the natural leader of ASEAN, but at the same time they are looking to also engage with other powers beyond ASEAN. And in that context, it's been said that he has met the Russians, he has met the Chinese, he is open to the Americans, and now he has come to India. So there is an effort to make Indonesia a bigger global player. So would anyone want to come in on that aspect of your foreign policy? Where does India fit into that scheme of making Indonesia beyond just the regional player, a global player, and you have all the potential to one day even become a great power, Right now, most people classify India, Indonesia as middle powers. I actually call them rising powers, which is above middle powers. But let's talk about your foreign policy and what you see. Where is the place of India? Where does India fit in among your top partners, and why, from a foreign policy point of view, in terms of your ambitions, where does India come in, and how does India help achieve your ambitions as a rising power? Anyone would like to come in on this? Sir, please.
If I may.
Sure.
Yeah, I think you mentioned earlier about the fact that President Sukarno was the first guest at the Republic Day, and I think Pak Suta also mentioned about the great role of that Indonesia played in the past. And I think what Mr. Prabowo is trying to do now, today, by visiting China, Russia, having a good ties with Russia, coming to the US, and now India, is sort of trying to bring back that era, make Indonesian foreign policy great again, so to speak. But I think the chief goal that Mr. Prabowo is trying to achieve, I think, is to sort of diversify our alliances. Because I think in the past, especially with President Sukarno, we know that he ran into trouble, right? By picking one side, and then he has to be fallen victim into, another great power rivalry. And I think it's no longer a secret that the past administration, the administration of Mr. Jokowi, has been seen as being too close to China, for instance. So I think Mr. Prabowo is aware of that limitation, and now he's trying to diversify the alliance, try to make as many friends, as many alliances as possible. And I think with India, this is, I think, also strategic in a way that Mr. Prabowo is former defense minister, and for years as defense minister, he's been trying to diversify the source of our military hardware. And I think in India, I think he can find a good partner. He can strike a partnership in modernizing Indonesian military hardware. He has tried to get new weapons from other sources other than the West. Although he also tried to seek within the West. He also have to diversify. He went to France. He went to South
Beyond
Korea.
the US, yeah.
Beyond the US. South Korea, Japan. So yeah, and I think in India, he can find a good partnership in terms of modernizing Indonesian military hardware, probably for that practical purpose.
And so talking of the defense, yeah, sure.
I give you Indonesian words. Non-block. Non-block is non-alignment. That's why Prabowo every day talk Indonesia foreign policy is non-alignment. We don't like to depend on one country only. Depend on USA, depend on China, Europe, Japan, but make a good relationship for all. And right now, time for Indonesia make relationship better with India, and we move together, make better together. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Ridwan Marzuki. I am from Pajar, city of Makassar, South Sulawesi, a local media in Indonesia, but the big mainstream media in South Sulawesi. Firstly, we thank to India that received us as a member of BRICS.
Yes.
That's meaningful for us because we need to expand our allies and ties to give a lot of things to the world. In the future, we hope that not only South countries that joining in this new allies, but we can expand to South America, North America, and all the countries in the ship that our trade take through. I mean, we can expand the bigger allies in the future by leading of India and Indonesia, because we have the base source. We have the big population, and Indonesia has a lot of natural sources, so it can maximize our effort to be bigger in the world, and we start from this agreement, Indonesia and India's partnership. I think so.
Thank you. In fact, viewers, you'll be happy to know that one of the central agreements signed during President Subianto's visit to India was on defense cooperation and maritime security, and the two sides have talked about joint production and manufacturing also. And this is higher than just buying and selling of weapons. So while the BrahMos supersonic cruise missile has been on the table for a while, already the Philippines and Vietnam have also been in discussions with India on this matter, and Indonesia might acquire the BrahMos. But beyond that, there could be a lot more where some components are manufactured here in India, some are done in Indonesia, and the technology may be from a third partner, and we could assemble everything and enhance our security. On maritime issues, I want to bring in our esteemed friends from Indonesia. We are all in the Indo-Pacific, and the ASEAN outlook on Indo-Pacific was many ways engineered and steered by Indonesia, and it took the lead role. And India, of course, is a central player in the Indo-Pacific. We are part of the Quad grouping, and the Indian view is far more critical of China, and we believe that we face a challenge and a threat from China, and there's like a counterbalancing of China. Indonesia is a little bit more nuanced, but you also face challenges to your territorial integrity and threats and so on. So what more can we do on maritime security? The agreements are there. There is going to be more patrolling and coast guards of both sides, the navies already they do joint exercises, and we should be more involved. So maritime security, because we share this common homeland called the Indo-Pacific. Yes. How can we together, as the two big players in this region, jointly shape this region to make it safe and more rules based? Yes, sir. Yes. Please.
Well, let me know. My name is Joko Mulyono. I am the senior editor of Bali Tribune that published in Bali. As you know, Bali Also, India is very close.
Yes, I visited there.
Yeah, thank you so much. And
I've seen the Kechak Rama
that's right.
performance
Yes.
there.
So that's the more similar, between Indonesia and India, for the religion, also the tourism, for example, like that. Because I try to follow about the maritime.
Yes.
I think on the middle of next month, on February, we have like a big event. It's called Multilateral Navy Exercise Komodo. It's also to protect about the Indo-Pacific security, something like that. And we hope also, I try to follow about Mr. Suta said before, there's a Bollywood and Bollywood. Yes.
Bali.
Yes, Bollywood is also have discussed, I think few years ago, before the pandemic. But we still reason about the following to make a joint close between artists from India, also from Indonesia. It's called, we will take the in Bali, so we call Bollywood. Yes.
We look forward to that, and of course the maritime cooperation is critical, and joint exercises will matter a lot. Viewers, we are almost out of time, but I want to bring in voices who have not spoken yet. What is your overall impression of India from this trip, and what are you taking back? What are you going to tell people back home in Indonesia about this country, the changes you are seeing in this country? Maybe sometimes, there is a gap between impression and the reality, and it can only be bridged through these kind of, group visits to our country. So, ma'am, would you like to speak up on anything, what you've heard and seen in India, and what you would like to take back? Yes, please.
Hello, Professor. My name is Putih. I'm from TV1. It's a national television in Indonesia. So I see myself Republic Day parade. Before I go here, I'm searching in YouTube, and it's so wow for me. When I see it myself, it's so grand. It's really grand. I never seen myself that parade is so many devices, so many army in what we say, costume, uniforms.
Yeah.
The uniforms is really elegant. I took pictures.
Yes.
I took so much videos, and I show it to my family, and they say, "Wow, is this real?" Yes, this is what I saw here. So, in my opinion, India is really great. What I saw really great. So, and I make a covering for my television, and I hope my people in Indonesia saw it.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. India is great. Our friend says from the national television, Indonesia viewers, we really value those words. Ma'am, anyone else? What have you seen in India, and what are you taking back with you? Sir, please.
Thank you. My name is Bung Purwanto. I'm editor-in-chief of sindonews.com. I just saying that it's time for the South country to become the leader of the world, not from North or not from West. And I think Sukarno and Jawaharlal Nehru think that India and Indonesia has potential power to be friends in the past, in the recent, and in the future, to take the lead in the world. I think this is my word. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We can lead the world. Ma'am, any last words? Any last thoughts on India? What you've seen in India? Would anyone want to come in, please?
Hello, I'm Tika from India News Desk ID. Back that about entertain in Indonesia about India. India News Desk launched 3 months ago in Indonesia, and I saw a lot of Indonesian singer and coverage a lot of song about India. And the most popular singer in Indonesia is Audrey Bella, and she viral in the YouTube, and we have the name is Lady Rara. She dancer about India, the India dancer, and she have 1.5 million followers.
Wow.
So I think Indian culture is famous in Indonesia.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, and I hope that this cultural romance between our two great civilizations continues, and it will keep growing. Viewers, what a fascinating discussion with our esteemed senior journalists and editors from Indonesia. The main takeaway is that our two countries are bound very tightly. There is no conflict of interest. There may be occasional differences in viewpoints about geopolitical developments, but overall the cooperation is strong and is getting stronger. The leaderships on both sides have committed to it. The businesses and even ordinary people are increasingly discovering each other. I can tell you our A-list celebrities who have all been going to Bali for tourism and promoting it, I can tell you it's become the rage in this country. And there was a time when people only talked about Thailand and Singapore, or even Vietnam, but now increasingly Bali has become a favored destination, and even Jogja and other places, people want to actually go and see your great country. So Indonesia is increasingly registering in the minds of ordinary people, and the elites of course are driving the relationship forward through the comprehensive strategic partnership. And I want to thank all our friends from the media in Indonesia for spreading the good word about the friendship between our two countries, the benefits, concrete benefits that it brings to both our people. And I'm sure that with your support, the messaging and the opinion and the discourse in your country will continue to remain favorable towards India, and we can do wonders, maybe quadruple the trade. That has been one factor that has been mentioned, maybe upgrade the partnership to even higher level, and of course we will have to jointly take care of our region, the Indo-Pacific, to maintain rules-based order, and two big democracies have to join hands for this to happen. Thank you so much for your visit to India and to our national TV, and let's take the friendship forward.